This story ends with a father's move so brilliant it will make every grandpa proud. Don't miss the last 5 seconds. Before we dive in, sneak into the like button's house and lock it in so it never escapes. Hit subscribe and ring the bell, because family drama like this shouldn't surprise you, but it will. I'm Jack Mitchell, a retired fire chief from Savannah, Georgia. After decades of running into burning buildings, I thought nothing could rattle me. But I was wrong. The fire I faced on my eldest daughter Emma's wedding day didn't come with smoke. It came with smiles that hid something hotter. The week before the wedding had been picture perfect. My wife, Marlene, bustled around our Victorian home arranging flower deliveries and checking menus. My younger daughter Lily, 24 and full of energy, flitted about with a camera in hand, documenting every moment. David, Emma's fiancé, was a steady, soft-spoken man I trusted. I liked him the first time he helped me replace a storm-damaged roof shingle in the rain. He called me sir even when I told him not to. Savannah's early spring light was gentle that week. Soft magnolia blooms drifting like confetti before the real confetti. Every evening, the scent of the river mixed with barbecue smoke from neighbors prepping for family visits. It should have been the calm before a joyful storm. Looking back, I see the red flags I missed. Marlene began fussing over Lily's outfit choices more than Emma's. One afternoon, I caught a glimpse of Lily in a white cocktail dress. "Just trying something fun," she laughed. Marlene's eyes glowed. "That shade of white lights you up, sweetheart. Maybe wear something memorable for the wedding." I thought it was harmless sisterly fun. Weddings can make mothers sentimental, right? The rehearsal dinner, held at an old riverside warehouse strung with Edison bulbs, should have sealed the excitement. Guests toasted to Emma and David. Laughter bounced off the brick walls. Yet I noticed Marlene whispering to Lily, their heads together like conspirators. Whenever I approached, they shifted to weather talk. Emma caught me looking and tilted her head, question in her eyes. I just smiled. "Don't spook her, Jack," I told myself. 2 days before the wedding, Emma invited her mother and sister for a final gown fitting at Belle and Lace, a boutique as elegant as its name. I offered to drive. Inside, Emma stepped onto the fitting pedestal. The satin gown shimmered like morning water. Lily's eyes widened, then softened into something I couldn't read. "You look, wow," she said, but her voice carried a note I knew from years of listening to dispatch calls. Envy. Marlene adjusted the veil. "You know," she said casually, "this gown is almost too lovely to use just once." Chuckled. "That's why they take photos, honey." They exchanged a look and laughed a bit too quickly. The evening before the ceremony, our house was full of relatives. Lily helped Emma set up a late-night cocoa bar in the kitchen. I went to lock the back door and overheard a faint conversation near the laundry room. "Are you sure it will be okay?" Lily whispered. "Trust me," Marlene replied. "It'll be perfect. Sisters share everything." My firefighter instincts prickled. "Share what?" I pushed open the door. "Everything okay?" They startled. "Oh, just talking about sharing old family recipes," Marlene said. I raised an eyebrow but let it slide. The house smelled of cinnamon and secrets. Dawn spilled pink light over Forsyth Park as I brewed coffee. Emma bounded downstairs, radiant even in pajamas. "Morning, Dad." We shared a quiet cup while the city woke. "This is it," she said, eyes sparkling. "You ready for forever?" "Absolutely." It was one of those small perfect father-daughter moments I'll carry forever. But when Emma went upstairs to change into her gown, the quiet cracked like dry timber. "Dad!" Her scream sliced through the house. I sprinted up. Her room looked ransacked, closet doors open, garment bags empty. "My dress is gone." We tore through every room. Nothing. Marlene and Lily appeared from the guest room hallway, feigning surprise. "What's happening?" Marlene asked. "My dress," Emma said, shaking. "It's missing." Lily clutched her phone. "Maybe the cleaners mixed things up." I dialed Bell and Lace. No deliveries scheduled. No staff in the area. A sick, smoky feeling crawled up my spine. Years of firefighting taught me to trust that feeling. I checked the garage. Nothing. Then a neighbor texted me a photo, taken barely 30 minutes earlier, of Lily outside a coffee shop, wearing a white gown. Not just any white gown. The gown. I found Lily in the church's bridal lounge, standing in front of a mirror. The gown hugged her like it was made for her. "Lily," I said, voice low but steady, "why are you in your sister's dress?" You jump. "Dad, it's not what you think." MOM said it would be fun. Just a few pictures together before Emma arrives. Marlene stepped in, holding a second bouquet. "Jack, please. This is a family dress. Both girls deserve to shine today." Emma arrived moments later. The look on her face, shock curdled to heartbreak, burned into me. "You were going to share my wedding," she whispered. Marlene took a deep breath. "Why not? A double blessing. 2 daughters honored in one celebration." Gasps from nearby bridesmaids filled the room. The church bells tolled across Savannah, but to me they sounded less like celebration and more like an emergency siren. I had faced raging fires and collapsing roofs, yet I'd rarely felt urgency like this. My eldest daughter's once-in-a-lifetime moment was about to be hijacked. I stepped between Emma and Marlene, instinctively spreading my arms as if shielding a victim from falling debris. "Stop right here," I said, my voice carrying the command tone that used to quiet entire fire crews. Marlene's lips tightened. "Jack, this is for family unity." "Unity doesn't start with deception," I replied. Emma's bridesmaids surrounded her, their pastel dresses quivering like sails in a storm. One whispered, "Do we call the officiant?" Emma shook her head, her eyes never leaving Lily. Lily's cheeks flushed, and for a moment I glimpsed the little girl who once brought me dandelions after school. "Dad, please. Mom said we could just symbolically share. She told me you'd understand," she said. Lily's voice cracked. "Symbolically share what?" Emma cut in. Her voice was sharp but trembling. "My vows. My husband." The room went dead quiet except for the echo of distant bells. Marlene stepped forward, holding a folded sheet of paper like a secret decree. "I spoke with Reverend Collins," she said calmly. "He agreed to a short dual blessing, 2 daughters honored together. We can make this wedding bigger than any Savannah has seen." Emma's face drained of color. "You went behind my back." "With the pastor." The bridesmaids gasped in unison. It felt like the air itself pulled back in disbelief. Meanwhile, the congregation waited in the sunlit sanctuary. Through the frosted glass we could hear the organist vamping longer than planned. Guests shifted in their pews. Some curious relatives stepped into the hallway and peeked toward the lounge. Then phones buzzed. A bridesmaid's screen lit up with a text from a cousin already inside. "Why is Lily wearing white? Everyone can see her through the vestibule window." Whispers turned into a murmur beyond the door. Emma's best friend Rachel finally spoke. "This is her wedding. Not a photo shoot, not a 2-for-1 event. You can't ambush her like this. Marlene's jaw stiffened. Families used to celebrate multiple unions on the same day. This is traditional. I couldn't help but remember every pre-wedding meeting when Marlene had insisted on special surprises. I thought she meant flowers, not a double marriage. I exhaled slowly, the way I used to before breaching a smoky room. Everyone out, I said evenly. Except immediate family. Rachel hesitated, then guided the bridesmaids out. The lounge door clicked shut. This ends now, I told Marlene. But she only met my stare. It's already begun. Inside the sanctuary, Reverend Collins approached the vestibule, confusion on his face. Jack, is there a problem? He asked through the cracked door. Hold for 10 minutes, I said. My voice carried the weight of a man who once evacuated entire apartment blocks. The Reverend nodded and retreated. Emma collapsed into a chair, tears streaking her carefully done makeup. David, who had been waiting at the altar, suddenly appeared, ushered by Rachel. He took in the scene, the dress, the tears, the tension, and his calm eyes hardened. Emma, he said gently, whatever you choose, I stand with you. While we debated, phones pinged relentlessly. Someone had already snapped a picture of Lily in the gown and posted it with the caption, Savannah double bride wedding. Sisters in one dress. Within minutes, it racked up dozens of shares. Emma buried her face in her hands. This is a nightmare. Lily's lower lip trembled. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Marlene still refused to bend. This family will thank me one day. Emma stood suddenly, every inch the determined woman I'd raised. No. You won't rewrite my vows or my life. Give me my dress. Marlene crossed her arms. You'll regret shutting out your own sister. I took a deep breath. Enough, I said. Lily, take that gown off now. But Lily hesitated, glancing at our mother as if waiting for permission. The standoff stretched until it felt like the room itself might crack. My mind raced like it used to when calculating a rescue path. Plan A, reasoning, had failed. Plan B, force, would scar the family forever. Plan C surfaced from a memory weeks old. A month earlier, while shopping with Emma for her dress, I'd quietly ordered a second, simpler gown, just in case an accident ruined the first. I'd hidden it in the trunk of my truck, half joking with myself that a backup wedding dress was like a spare hose line, something you hope you never need. I had needed it. I leaned toward David. Buy me 5 minutes. Keep everyone calm inside. He squeezed my shoulder and slipped back to the sanctuary. Outside, the spring sun blazed. I jogged to the parking lot, heart hammering from urgency and age. In the truck bed, beneath a tarp, was the white garment bag. I'd even packed matching shoes. When I returned, Emma gasped, Dad, you bought another dress? He nodded. Insurance policy. Just like keeping a spare extinguisher. For the first time that morning, she smiled through tears. I set the garment bag on a chair and turned to Marlene and Lily. This is Emma's day. I won't let ego rewrite it. You can either support her or sit this one out. Marlene's shoulders sagged, but she still whispered, Jack, think of the tradition. I said firmly. The tradition of keeping promises. Lily's eyes welled up. I'm sorry, Emma. I didn't want to ruin anything. Emma took a long breath. Then please, Lily. Let me marry the man I love in peace. Slowly, Lily stepped behind a screen to change out of the gown. The rustle of fabric sounded like a sigh of relief. Inside the sanctuary, the organist began another soft prelude. The guests, who had heard fragments of the drama, waited in hushed curiosity. Emma slipped into the backup gown with Rachel's help. When she finally turned to face us, radiant and unshaken, I felt something ignite. Not panic this time, but pride. The fire was contained. But I knew the deeper work of healing was still ahead. The hush that followed Lily's quiet apology felt like the breathless pause before a storm. The congregation in the sanctuary had been waiting for nearly an hour. The air was thick with curiosity and rumor. Yet inside the bridal lounge, I felt a different kind of stillness, one of decisions about to be made. Emma stepped out in the spare gown I had secretly bought weeks ago. It wasn't the elaborate satin masterpiece she'd chosen, but it was pure elegance, soft ivory with hand-stitched lace at the sleeves. A dress designed for grace under pressure. Rachel adjusted the veil. David re-entered, eyes widening as if he'd just seen the sun break through storm clouds. "You're perfect," he said, kissing her hand. Emma's tears shimmered but didn't fall. "Thanks to Dad," she whispered. For the first time that morning, I felt my heart unclench. But I knew the battle wasn't over. I walked into the sanctuary first, like a firefighter testing the air for hidden flames. Every guest turned toward me, questions on their faces. Even Reverend Collins paused mid-prayer. "Family and friends," I began, my voice carrying through the church's high rafters. "Thank you for your patience. We had a logistical hiccup. But love is stronger than any delay. The wedding will begin shortly." Polite laughter rippled through the pews, but I caught the side glances. People checking phones, reading the viral posts. Containing a rumor is harder than containing a fire. When I returned to the lounge, Marlene stood with arms folded, chin high. "You humiliated us out there," she said. "No," I answered. "I protected our daughter." She shot back. "This is not just her day, it's ours too." I took a slow breath. A wedding belongs first to the couple. Our job is to bless, not to own. Marlene's eyes hardened. "You'll regret turning Lily into an outcast." Lily flinched at the word outcast. I caught her eye and softened my tone. "No one is an outcast here. But love needs honesty. Emma deserves a ceremony free of ambush." The room stayed silent. For the first time, Marlene seemed to question herself. At last the doors opened, and the music swelled. Emma walked down the aisle on my arm, the backup gown glowing like morning light on the Savannah River. Every step felt like a victory over chaos. David waited, steady as ever. As I placed Emma's hand in his, I whispered, "I've got you both covered." When Reverend Collins pronounced them husband and wife, cheers erupted. I caught sight of Marlene dabbing at her eyes, pride and conflict warring on her face. For a moment, I thought the storm had passed. The reception was set in a garden lit with fairy lights. Laughter and clinking glasses filled the evening air. But I wasn't ready to relax. Years of emergency work had trained me. Sometimes flare-ups come after the main blaze is out. Sure enough, near the dessert table, I overheard Marlene talking to her sister. "She'll thank me one day," she said. Lily deserved her moment. I approached quietly. "Marlene," I said, "it's time to end this." She looked at me defensive. I only wanted both daughters to feel special. "And look where that led," I replied gently. "Viral gossip, tears, and broken trust. Let's turn this around before it hardens into bitterness." I called for everyone's attention. Glasses stilled. Music softened. "Friends and family," I began. "You've witnessed not just a wedding but a lesson. Love isn't about stealing a spotlight. It's about giving light." I turned to Lily. "Our younger daughter is just as precious. Let's honor her, not by hijacking today, but by promising to celebrate her own wedding fully when the time comes. Applause rolled through the crowd. Lily's eyes filled, and even Marlene's posture eased. Emma surprised me by taking the mic next. "I forgive the hurt," she said, voice steady. "But forgiveness is stronger when we learn from it. Lily, I love you. Mom, I love you. Let's build new memories. No more secret plans." The guests erupted in cheers. The tension that had hung over the garden finally melted. Later that night, as lanterns floated over the river, my phone buzzed with a message from a local reporter who'd seen the viral photos. Instead of a scandal, the online conversation had turned inspiring. Father's quick thinking turns family feud into masterclass on love and leadership. The headline spread faster than the earlier gossip, shifting the story from humiliation to hope. I showed it to Marlene. Her eyes softened. "You saved all of us." Smiled. That was the plan from the start. When the crowd thinned and the band packed up, Marlene and I finally sat alone on a wooden bench. The moonlight spilled across the river like a silver second chance. "I was scared," she admitted. "Scared of losing Emma to marriage. Scared of the house feeling empty." I put an arm around her shoulders. "We don't lose children by letting them grow. We lose them when we try to cage them." She rested her head on my shoulder, silent for a long time. "I'm sorry," she said at last. Later, Emma found me watching the last lantern drift. "Dad," she said, handing me a slice of leftover cake, "how did you stay so calm?" Chuckled. "Fires teach you to trust preparation more than panic. And I trusted you to stand strong." She squeezed my hand. "You gave me more than a wedding today. You gave me peace." I felt the weight of the day settle into quiet satisfaction. As we locked the garden gate behind the last guest, I looked back at the softly glowing lights. What began as a near disaster had ended as something richer. A family willing to admit wrongs and start fresh. But I knew we still had one final act, true reconciliation, waiting in the weeks ahead. The garden lights of Emma and David's wedding slowly faded behind us, but their glow stayed in my heart. For the first time all day, the night air smelled purely of magnolia, not tension. Yet I knew the story wasn't finished. The ceremony had ended in triumph, but real reconciliation happens after the applause. The next morning, our house felt unusually still. Marlene moved through the kitchen without the usual clatter. Lily lingered on the porch, staring at the street as if waiting for courage. I brewed coffee and let the silence stretch. In firefighting, I'd learned that after a blaze, you don't rush cleanup. You let the embers cool. Finally, Marlene set down her mug and spoke. "Jack," she said softly, "I need to apologize to everyone." Waited. I let fear guide me. I was terrified that after Emma married, our home would feel empty. So I tried to hold on too tightly. I see now how wrong that was. I reached across the table and held her hand. "Thank you for saying it. That's the first step." Later that day, Emma and David came over, still glowing from their first night as husband and wife. Lily joined us, twisting her fingers nervously. Cleared my throat. Family meeting. We sat in the living room, sunbeams catching dust motes like floating reminders of the past 24 hours. Marlene began. "Emma, David, what I did was selfish. I tried to rewrite your wedding for my own comfort. I'm sorry." Her voice broke. "I hope you can forgive me." Emma looked at her mother for a long time, then stood and embraced her. "I forgive you, Mom. But I need to trust that this won't happen again." Tears spilled freely on both sides. Lily wiped her eyes and stepped forward. "I was wrong too. I wanted a big day like Emma's. I thought sharing her spotlight might give me that feeling. I didn't think about how it would hurt her. Emma hugged her sister. When your time comes, you'll have your own day. I'll make sure of it. Even David smiled. And I'll be there carrying chairs. A ripple of laughter ran through the room. A small sound, but heavy with healing. I cleared my throat again. Family, let's remember this. Love grows when children are trusted, not controlled. Our job as parents isn't to keep them here. It's to help them soar. Everyone nodded. The weight in the room lifted, replaced by something steadier. Mutual respect. Emma surprised us next. I'd like to invite everyone to a vow renewal picnic next month. Something simple in Forsyth Park. Not to redo the wedding, but to celebrate what we learned. The idea caught fire immediately. David promised to bring his famous barbecue ribs. Lily offered to design the picnic layout. Even Marlene's eyes brightened. I'd love to arrange the flowers. This time with everyone's approval. Felt like turning the final key in a lock. 4 weeks later, golden sunlight bathed Forsyth Park. We laid blankets under spreading oaks, and friends who'd watched the wedding drama unfold joined with smiles and potluck dishes. Emma and David repeated a few heartfelt vows. Short, simple, and strong. Instead of applause, we all hummed Amazing Grace, a tune that floated through the park like a benediction. I watched Marlene pass a basket of homemade biscuits to Lily and Emma together. No secret plans. No hidden rivalries. Just family. After the meal, several of the older guests, neighbors, fellow retirees, even a few firefighters from my old station, asked me to share a few words. I stood beneath an ancient oak and spoke from the heart. Friends, yesterday's mistakes can become tomorrow's wisdom. A wedding nearly fell apart, but love rebuilt it stronger. For fathers and grandfathers here, never underestimate calm preparation. And never forget that forgiveness is the surest way to keep a family whole. The group erupted in warm applause. 2 days after the picnic, I received a letter from the local paper. They planned a feature titled, Father's Calm Saves Wedding, and teaches a city about family leadership. The article praised not just the quick thinking on the wedding day, but the month-long path to genuine reconciliation. Emma called that night. Dad, your steady heart turned what could have been a nightmare into a guidebook for love. I hope you know how much that means to us. I swallowed the lump in my throat. That's the best reward I could ask for. In the weeks that followed, I found myself reflecting on other quiet lessons hidden in the chaos. Plan for surprises. Whether it's a spare wedding dress or an emergency fund, preparation buys freedom. Invest in relationships like savings. Consistent, small deposits of trust yield compound interest in crises. A retirement isn't retreat. It's a chance to lead from wisdom, not just activity. I shared these ideas in my monthly neighborhood meeting, where several dads and grandpas said they planned to start backup plans of their own, both financial and emotional. One Sunday evening, Emma stopped by alone. We sat on the porch, cicadas buzzing in the summer dusk. Dad, she said, people keep asking me how we turned such a public mess into something beautiful. I tell them it was you. Chuckled. It was all of us. I just carried the first bucket of water. She leaned her head on my shoulder, a grown woman still comfortable as a daughter. I hope David and I can be the kind of parents you and Mom are learning to be. That single sentence felt like the highest honor of my life. Today, months later, the story still spreads online, less as gossip and more as a guide for families. Messages arrive from fathers and grandfathers across the US, UK, and Canada. Your calm leadership saved not just a wedding but inspired our own family healing. Every time I read one, I remember the Firehouse motto, Leave every scene safer than you found it. That's what we did. If this journey, from betrayal to forgiveness, moved you, share it with the fathers, grandfathers, and families you love. Let them know that even in the hottest family fires, patience and planning can turn sparks of conflict into lasting light. And if you haven't already, sneak into the like button's house and lock it in so more families can find the calm they need.